Taylor, and I'm here with Tab Salsman, and
Hello.
This is The Hair Game. So excited for you to be watching our video. Thanks so much, Tab, for being here.
Thank you.
And so let's go ahead and start with the first question, which is, tell us about your career. When did you start, and what have you been doing?
Let's see. So I've been doing hair for 16 years now. I'm 35. And I got into hair out of a complete fluke. It was Halloween right after I graduated high school. I was doing my girlfriend's hair at the time for Halloween, and I had no idea what I was doing.
What was she?
Well, we decided to go as Gothic kids because
Okay.
they celebrate Halloween every day, so we figured we should celebrate them. And I have a lot of friends that were Gothic and stuff, and because I was into heavy metal, still am. So I'm like crimping and curling and back combing, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I did know that it was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
All right, so where have you been working?
I got hired for at Vidal Sassoon and Tony and Guy on the same day. And you know, when you're in school, getting hired at both those places was kind of, I would assume it would be like getting accepted for law at Harvard and Yale.
Yep.
So you're like, where do I go?
Right.
And I didn't think you could have a bad choice. Something about Tony and Guy just drew me in more, because I like pushing the limits and the boundaries and challenging the status quo, not in a rebellious way, but really in an intellectual, like, is this the way things always have to be done because they've always been done that way? Mm-hmm. And so that's really what I liked.
Right, right. That's pretty cool. So what kind of turned us on to you was the interview that we did with Andrew Does Hair. And I asked Andrew who has been the greatest influence, or what has been the greatest influence on your career, and he said Tab Salsman. So what was it that you have from a business perspective that you were able to give Andrew that was so valuable?
I told him my own personal story, but I didn't tell him it was my own personal story. It's a thing I do when I'm out there teaching, and people are asking about how do you raise your prices or how do you go about it. And they say, they're always looking for some reason to justify their price increase, right? Like
Right.
all of a sudden they wake up, oh, it's price increase day, woo!
Right.
Doesn't happen.
Or I just went to a class and now I feel like I can
$5
justify.
more. $5
Yeah.
more. See that piece of paper?
Right.
$5 more. Mm-hmm. And I don't subscribe to that. So I said, let's say tomorrow. Let's say you're Andrew, all right? But you're not, you're Eric. So I'm like, Eric, how much do you charge?
$25.
$25.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you're going to charge $50. Would you do anything different tomorrow than what you're doing today? And he started writing down all of these things. So I'd probably show up on time. I'd probably remember my client's name. I probably wouldn't wear shorts and a white T-shirt. He started writing all these things.
He'd up his game. All those things that he knows.
That he should be doing.
Yeah.
If he was charging more. And I said, the reason you're not going to charge $50 is because you don't do these things. You don't charge the price and then do these things. You do these things to charge the price. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, I think like the taco fell out of his mouth, the salsa got the place. But I think that really hit him hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I always joked around. I was overtrained in more areas than all of my peers, but I was also undertrained in other areas. Mm. What happened for me is when I left Tony and Guy, and I went up to LA, I went from charging $60 literally overnight to charging $120 at
Wow.
the Beverly Hills salon.
Wow.
So when I told him, would you do anything differently? I lived that moment.
Yeah, sure.
So what did I do right? What did I do wrong? All those things. I lived literally overnight charging $120. Now, I had a great background, cutting education, but what I learned through, like, what is the phrase, baptism through fire?
Yep.
I learned what it takes to quantify that extra $60.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about those details. So showing up on time, huge,
Yeah.
right? That so few people do sometimes.
Guilty of it I all the time. I
Yep.
mean, now I have a 3-month-old baby, you know, so that stops me. But I think that's something I personally struggle with even to this day.
Yeah.
Do I show up on time? I try to do my best every single day.
So showing up on time,
Yeah.
what else? Like being there, receptive to your client,
Being present.
being present mentally, emotionally.
Everything. Whatever happened leaves when you enter that salon.
Right.
The other thing is, particularly with a new client, and this is what I would always hear, is the new client that comes in your chair, they'd say, oh, the hairdresser who was doing my hair was really good, but the first 2 times. And then after that, they started slacking off.
Totally.
So one of the things I told Andrew is that you're only as good as your last haircut. It's not like the last haircut of the day, and this could go for blow dry color, whatever it is, whatever you do. It's just that last service with that person is their memory with you.
So to keep that level high.
Keep that level high. Every time they come in, you should be talking to them like you've never had a consultation with them.
Right.
The second and third consultations have different questions to begin the conversation, like, how did you like the last service? How did it grow out? Did it get brassy? Did this? Those are different questions, but you still need to have that same focus.
The formula's in the book, and you think she's going to want the same formula over and you've got it nailed, but maybe she wants something different.
That happened to me. I did a haircut on a regular client, and then it came to blow dry her hair, and she said, "Oh, by the way, Tab, I don't part my hair here anymore. I flipped it to this side, and I had cut the whole haircut to this side." So what did I learn? I look at every time you make a mistake, it's only a mistake and a failure if you don't realize there's an education involvement. Like, did you learn from that? I did. So what did I learn? Where do you part your hair?
Yeah.
Are you still parting at the same spot? Right. Do you change it?
The consultation.
Yeah. The consultation can alleviate so many bad services and bad results if you take the time.
And I think that, from the standpoint of a client, which I am, this sense of service and hospitality and giving a shit is so strong, if the hairdresser does that.
Yeah.
Every time, I would be impressed, if a hairdresser did that every single time, and I would really feel like, wow, this person really, really cares. Any other, tactical things that would fall into this category?
One of the things that I do notice in booth rent salons where the front desk can check out your client is that hairdressers are afraid of money. Like, they're afraid of talking about it. They like making it.
Right.
They don't ever want to interact with it with their client. They're so weird about that.
Uncomfortable.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Because you just did the work and you're proud about the work and they enjoyed it and they want to pay you for your work.
They expect to.
Like, nobody said
they have the money in their pocket,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Waiting.
Exactly. So to me, that is the one thing, is that they're expecting to pay. I think retailing is a huge part of that. A lot of hairdressers go, that product's like $74. Well, $74 may be a lot to you and how you manage your money and your budget.
Yeah.
But if you're charging a $300 service, they have the money, or they've budgeted the money to do that. Like, the way I value money, it's not how you value money.
Sure.
So like $1,000 for you, don't assume.
Yeah.
So $1,000 for you is like a drop in the bucket. $1,000 for me could be like everything.
Totally.
And don't assume that. They are going to tell you no, or they are going to tell you yes.
Yeah.
But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that's what Wayne Gretzky said. I love hockey. So that to me is like, take every opportunity to 100%. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But you never know if you can close that deal.
Okay, so we talked about bedside manners, all really great information. So let's talk about something else that we see all the time, which is making sure, as a hairdresser, making sure that you're keeping up with price increases. A lot of people aren't very conscious about it. So what advice do you have there?
Your first year out of school and you're in a salon and you have your own chair, the first year I joke around like, you lunch all day. And then hopefully the second year, you lunch half the time. You're like a part-time luncher. And then hopefully the third year, you're like, shit, I want a lunch. If you're working and you can't fit anybody into your schedule and you're charging the same prices and you're exhausted and you're thinking you want to cut down on your hours, that's when it's to do a price change. If you're paying $50 and you're tipping 20% on $50, then your new prices should be $50 plus the 20%.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. People are already used to paying it.
They're used to paying that. Now,
if they're pissed off because of it, then they don't have to tip you.
Exactly. So if you don't get that gratuity, don't go, cheap. Maybe you didn't deliver their expectation of the service.
Right. So talk about business. You're a business person outside of just your hairdressing. You have a bag line called Tools and Bags, correct?
Yeah.
So let's look at your bags. Okay.
So,
all right. So when did you start this? So why did you start this line, and when?
Okay. So I'm an educator. I travel. And when you travel, your needs change, right? You don't realize that you need smaller bottles of shampoo until they throw your giant one out at the checkout in the TSA line, right? Mm-hmm. So I like organization. I like knowing where my stuff is. And I needed something that carried what I was going to from point A to point B. And as an educator, and you're in an academy setting, you see people come in and they have like these canvas tote bags. And there's stuff's flying around. I mean, I have seen people, their scissors hit the ground, and now their scissors are like ruined for the whole cutting class. They're like, how do I cut now? It's like, well, you should have had a shear case, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things I also noticed, too, is that everything was leather. And there's a lot of people who are limited because they don't want to hurt animals. They don't want to. They want something that was animal conscious. So I wanted to do something like, if I'm going to make something, it has to be acceptable for everyone, even those who don't want to touch leather. Canvas or a cloth bag was better, so that way you can also wash it, sanitize if you need to. So first off, this little sleeve right here. So when you're traveling, you can slide this right onto your travel handle, or if you do hair and makeup, you can put this onto your makeup trolley.
Right.
So that way you can carry your hair
Smart.
and makeup. The bottom part zips off. So you have the empty one.
Yep.
And the great thing is like all of your stuff is nicely organized. So
Oh, that's awesome.
so you could go and put whatever you want. You know, I have clips, my clipper guards, combs. You know, I have my scissors here. I have all of my combs. I have Band-Aids in case you need them. You never know, right? You can put whatever
You're
you want.
so
in.
responsible.
I'm trying to be. 35, someone has to grow up. This is actually fun. I'm going to do the Mary Poppins thing. Is that cool?
Yeah,
All right,
of course.
so
Right.
here we have, I'll show you what I have here. So I have like, what, 1, 2 capes. I have my my blow dryer. But anyways, practically
that's a lot.
It's what your average hairdresser is using.
Yeah.
And throw in a curl wand or a curling iron, and we're set.
Right. So where does somebody find one of these?
Toolsandbags.com.
Toolsandbags spelled out.com.
Yep.
So TAB, tab, the acronym for tools and bags, tab.
Yeah.
Huh?
Eh?
Huh?
Everybody
You got that.
Well, everybody would ask me, "What's your name mean?" They thought my name was shorter for something, so I jokingly gave myself a meaning for my name.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Thank you for having me, and I hope this is not the last time.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. Thanks, everybody, for watching the Hair Game. See you next time.
Later.